Okay, guys, so in week 3, I wanted to focus on the numbers, focus on your business performance. Now, in the first couple of weeks, specifically in week 1, I talked a lot about de risking your business, and I talked about the kind of things that an interested party really wants to see, the kind of things outside of revenue, profit that are going to rapidly increase the value of your business, make it a lot more valuable, make it a lot more appealing. And I emphasize the point that it is not all about the numbers. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that is really, really important when increasing the value of your business. But your business performance, your numbers are really, really important. So in week 3, I wanted to focus in specifically on your numbers and on the performance of your business and what you can do really, really quickly to improve it. What you can be doing in a really short period of time to get much better numbers. Now, what we're not going to be doing in this program is, or what I'm not going to be doing in this program is teaching you a sales strategy, a marketing strategy. I'm not going to be going deep on where you're going to be finding more customers and what kind of products you can be iterating or designing to serve those customers better. There's too many businesses in too many different niches, and it's just simply not possible for me to know each and every one of your businesses on a deep level. So in our quest to get your business doing much, much better numbers than it's currently doing right now, we're going to be after quick wins. And you may well find that some of those quick wins are going to be so big that they form a part of a longer term strategy and a longer term approach for your business. But I'll show you what I mean by that, when we dive in just a second. So for some context, when I decided that I wanted to sell my business, I actually had the thought for the first time. From that point to the moment that I exchanged contracts and rang the cash register was around 12 to 14 months. So in the very, very early days, I started thinking deeply about what I could do to make the performance of my business, make my numbers look as good as they could possibly look, and get people really, really fired up about my business. Look at it and say, wow, look how impressive the last year in particular has been. And I'll wind it back a second. When I made that decision that I wanted to sell my business, that was on the back of the two biggest years I'd had, two breakout years. I'd jumped from in 2015 about close to $1 million a year, about 1.1 million a year in revenue to 1.8, and then the following year I'd hit 2.1 million in revenue. So two really, really big jumps. And prior to that, my growth hadn't been as rapid and as significant. So I was obviously really, really pumped about the success I'd had and the results that I had over the last couple of years. But truth be told, I was a little bit on edge about what the future held. My business was in the tourism industry. I ran a day tour company, and we were just coming off the back of a really, really fruitful time. The conditions were and the environment were perfect for what I did. The markets that I serve, like the North American or US market, some of the emerging Asian markets, everything had been going really, really well, and the results were there to be seen in my business. But I was on edge because I just had a feeling that things were going to get a little more challenging for me, and they weren't going to get easier. There was a number of other competitors jumping into the space that I was in, and things were about to heat up, and I just felt and I could see that things were going to get a little bit tricky, and I felt that it was going to be challenging for me to maintain the results that I'd been able to achieve over the last couple of years. So I was concerned because what I really wanted was to have this beautiful 3-year upward trend and to kind of match the results that I had experienced the last couple of years in this next 12 months. But I felt that it was going to be tough. for a whole bunch of reasons. Most importantly, the emerging competition that I was facing. So this is what I did over those next, well, probably 6 months. Now, you, depending on what kind of business you run, you can follow the approach that I took. Many of you will be able to follow it to a T. Others might use bits and pieces for inspiration, but what I wanted was to get some really, really quick results that weren't labor intensive, that weren't going to cost me a lot of money, and were just going to make my business numbers look more impressive, doing better revenue, make it more profitable, make my business leaner as well. So having less expenses running through it that trickled down to the bottom line and made my bottom line look much more impressive as well. So the first thing I knew I had to do was get my team involved. Now, some of you may not have a team. You might be a sole trader. There might be just yourself, or maybe a husband or wife team, whatever. I had built a business that, taken me a few years to build, but I was doing a couple of $1 million a year in revenue. I had 6 full-time staff and a whole bunch of contractors and things like that. So I knew that I needed to get my team involved to help me achieve what I wanted to achieve. So first things first, this is what I came to realize, and I recommend it to all of you. And a lot of people ask me about when we get to the point where you're going to start presenting your business to market. What do you tell the people in your business, or your suppliers, your customers, and certainly your staff? Well, first things first, I recommend that you come clean with them and just let them know that right now you're actively seeking outside investment to help you take your business to the next level, because you're going to be asking things of people in your business that you wouldn't normally ask, and it's going to become pretty clear something's going on. And so seeking outside investment can mean a lot of things. Okay, it could mean that you want to keep a stake in your company. It could mean you want to explore a merger opportunity. It could mean that you want to entertain investors coming into your business. It could mean that ultimately you get such a great offer that you end up selling it. It could mean a whole range of things, but let it be known that you're seeking outside investment and you are 100%, 110% committed to your business, and you're doing this because you want to see it grow, evolve, and be a better version than it is today. And that's really all you need to tell people. So, because as I say, you'll be asking certain things of the people in your business if you have a team, if you've got some full-time, part-time staff that you haven't really asked them before, and those things you'll be asking of them will all be geared towards making the business more scalable, making it more profitable, making it more attractive to investors. And if you get any questions from staff on a deeper level, well, I guess common sense prevails. What you're wanting to do is take the business to the next level. They don't need to know whether or not you intend to be the person to take it to the next level, but the flow-on effect will be things like better opportunities, more money, and a whole range of other things. So everyone who's in your business should really embrace what I am going to tell you about and recommend to you now. So rather than just create an extra job or a whole bunch of extra jobs for people and not kind of tell them why, what I found really effective was to get something catchy, get something motivating, get something exciting, get something out there, get people rallied around and wanting to get some results, take part, give them ownership, and make them know, the people in your business, that you really value their input and you value their suggestions, you value what they bring to the table, and that you can all share in some really, really great success together. So I created what I called my 60-day cash campaign. And I'll tell you what that's all about in a second. But as I said, I got my whole team involved, and rather than just dump a whole lot of extra stuff on their plates without telling them why they're doing it, I got everyone involved and got everyone fired up about this cash campaign to see what we could achieve together as a team over the next 2 months. And just to be clear, before I start, telling you a little bit about the details of this cash campaign, this is not a traditional business model. This is not something that I would see as like a long-term business strategy. This is just something that delivers quick results and really impressive results with the sole aim of getting more money into your business really quickly and spending less money, which of course is going to make your bottom line look really, really good. And it's not rocket science, it's not overly complicated. It's just some really simple things executed really, really well. And why is it so powerful? Well, in a week or two, we're going to dive into the process of valuing your business, putting a price tag on your business, working out what your business is actually worth and what you can do to make it worth more. So we're going to be diving into that and getting right into the details in a week or two. But just so and I'm sure you would know by this stage, when it comes time to valuing your business, when it comes time to actually putting a price tag on it and taking it to market, the way that you put a value on your business is going to be through a multiple. And that multiple is going to vary wildly depending on the sort of niche industry you're in. And even within an industry, if you run like I did, a tour or activity business, well, your multiple could vary dramatically. It could be anything from 1.5 times or up to 3 or 4 times EBITDA. That's earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, amortization. Don't worry, we're going to get into that. Or it could be a multiple that is used off PBITDA, which is proprietors' earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization. As I say, if your head's spinning, don't worry. We're gonna get into those, and I'm gonna teach you exactly how you're gonna value your business and what that terminology means and how it applies to you, all that kind of stuff in a week or two. So don't worry. But you are going to apply a multiple to a set of numbers. Now, if that set of numbers, when it comes to valuing your business, is $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 better off the back of a cash campaign like this that you can roll out in a really short period of time, that does a massive amount to the value of your business. So off the back of a cash campaign that enables you to do, let's throw a number out there, $20,000 more revenue in a year, and reduce expenses by $10,000, well, that's a $30,000 turnaround. Now, if you apply a multiple of 2.5 to $30,000, that's $75,000. So your business has just increased in value by $75,000. Now, I'm just throwing a few numbers out there. And again, don't worry, we are going to dive deep into this and use some actual examples. And I'm going to show you exactly how you can go about valuing your business, where you can get the best advice, all those kind of things. But just to give you some insight, once you're applying a multiple to the result of a cash campaign like this, well, the value of your business is going to really, really quickly increase. And we're talking serious increases in value. So what's this cash campaign all about? Well, I think you're going to see in a minute that it is totally achievable for anyone, no matter what stage of business you're in, to have some success and to generate some serious cash by following these steps. So the first part of the cash campaign is to reduce the wastage, plug all the leaks, reduce all of that, those dollars, those dribs and drabs that you've been hemorrhaging. And it's really, really interesting because often in a micro business, in my experience and in what I've seen through speaking with and working with hundreds and hundreds of micro business owners, is that the one thing that should matter most is the one thing that gets neglected, and that is the expenses that run through your business. You're so busy at working on other things and developing new stuff and doing deals and building relationships and all of these kind of things that consume you when you're growing your business. And the expenses that run through it are often the thing that get neglected the most. So this first step, it involves simply getting a copy of your most recent, if you have one, your most recent profit and loss statement, and allocating expenses within that profit and loss to people in your team. So it might be allocating expenses that are related specifically to that person's role. So if you've got an admin assistant, it might be things like utilities or insurances, or if they're tasked with renewing insurances, whatever it is. So allocating expenses that are things that fall within the responsibility of people in your business. And I'll show you what I mean when I show you a copy of mine in just a second. But then what you would do once they've been distributed throughout your business, you would set some time aside, whether it's in the week or the fortnight or the month, and you would time block out, an hour or 2 hours in a week where you would all focus wholly and solely on this. And what you would do would be to go through that profit and loss statement, and you would code all of those expenses, and you would code them. My recommendation to you, or the way that I did it, was this: whether you would keep them, whether you would cut them, whether you would defer them, whether you would reduce them, or whether there was scope for you to negotiate them. So I'm just going to share my screen here and give you a look at what it looked like for me. So what I want to show you here is a document I've created to help you with this reduce the waste campaign. So this is based off my company profit and loss. So I've sort of grabbed all the expenses, the cost of sales and the operating expenses from my profit and loss, punched it into this template that's going to help you to really have some success with this reduce the waste campaign. So a little bit of information about it. So down here you can see all the cost of sales. So my business was a day tour company, so a lot of entry and admission fees for attractions, things like that. Fuel, obviously, meals. We did a lot of meals in morning teas, lunches, dinners in restaurants. Some expenses related to subcontractors. That were in busy times, we used a lot of tour guides that came and worked for us on a contract basis. Tasting, so wineries, cheese tastings, produce tastings, accommodation. These are the things related to the cost of sale, the cost of our day tours. And then these other expenses here are going to be really, really similar in many, many businesses. So operating expenses, advertising, bank fees, bookkeeping, things like general expenses, insurances, legal expenses, utilities, all of the same kind of things, repairs and maintenance, registrations, general office expenses, postage, stationery, all the kind of things that you would see in many businesses. So you can use these as something indicative. Now, in each of one of these categories, there's going to be a whole bunch of different expenses. So with your repairs and maintenance, it might be on some equipment, it might be on various different vehicles, it might be a mechanic, it might be a detailer, for example, if it was a car. So these are, these will be broken down further into specific expenses that fall under these categories. But basically, what the Reduce the Waste campaign involves is this: every single expense that runs through your business needs to be allocated to a person in your business. So one of your team members. And I would recommend that you allocate expenses that are based around that person's role. So let's say your operations manager, you would give them a whole bunch of expenses like, your entry admission fees, fuel, meals, all those kind of things that are related to an operations role. If it's an admin assistant, like an office admin, things like utilities, repairs and maintenance, they might be responsible for organizing repairs and maintenance on vehicles or equipment. If it's your marketing manager, they might be responsible for advertising fees, or if it's your general manager, they might be responsible for general expenses that they need to improve. Whoever is responsible for certain things in your business, give them a whole bunch of expenses. So what this involves is that I go back to time blocking. It always worked really, really well for me. So you as the business owner decide on a chunk of time and every week that you all get involved in this process. So let's say, for example, on a Tuesday afternoon for 1 hour or 2 hours, everyone gets involved in this Reduce the Waste campaign. And the first thing we need to do is categorize every single individual expense. So, and you need to make those decisions yourself, or the person who's responsible for those decisions. So every expense, you make a call. Is it something you could negotiate? Could you get a better deal, better price? Is it something that you keep? So for example, your subcontractor tour rates, well, you can't ask them to work for less. So you just keep it as it is. Whether it's something else, so an expense that might be cut. Let's say filing fees. You're getting someone to do a lot of office filing. Well, you can get that done in-house. So you might decide that that's an expense that is coded as cut, whatever it is. So you all individually make a decision whether you're going to keep it, whether you're going to cut it, whether you're going to defer it, or whether you're going to negotiate it. So if there's something that could be deferred, so let's say, for example, vehicle equipment maintenance. Well, you might say, well, we usually get our equipment maintained monthly, but you know what? We don't actually need to get it done more than quarterly. We've just been very fastidious. So for a period of time, we might just get it done on a quarterly basis. So there could be a saving there. I don't know if that's relevant to you or not, but basically you make a decision whether you're going to keep it as it is, whether you're going to cut it. Okay. It's an expense we don't need in our business. Whether you're going to defer it, something that, you might have someone doing the SEO for your website. Well, everything's going really, really well and tracking well. So we're going to drop that for a short period of time. We don't need that and we'll pick it up again in a few months. Or whether it could be negotiated. So that's where the time comes. So negotiating means getting on the phone to your insurance provider, getting on the phone to your various suppliers, getting on the phone to people who provide venue hire. Are you getting the best possible deal from them? Could you do something better? So anything that needs to be negotiated, your business banker, are you paying excess fees that you shouldn't really be paying? Your bookkeeper, could they be doing it better, faster, cheaper? Or could you be perhaps looking at an offshore solution to be getting it done better, faster, and certainly cheaper? Merchant fees for your banks. What about fuel? Are you filling your vehicles up at the right place and paying the best possible prices for fuel? Could you be getting more organized and filling up all your vehicles on a Tuesday when fuel prices are down? All these little things add up. Anyway, so it takes some time and there's going to be some grumblings. But as I said, when I did this for the first time in my business, I was absolutely staggered. The result was in 60 days, $26,000 in savings when we reviewed every single expense running through the business. So here's what I suggest you do. You've got you're using this now. You can use this and adapt it, iterate this template, but I've just suggested here, you track expenses over 3 months. So what did you pay in 3 months ago? What did you pay 2 months ago? What did you pay last month? And in this current month? And you've obviously made a decision on whether you're going to keep it, cut it, defer it, or negotiate it. And you've got the staff member who is actually owning those particular expenses. Now, again, this may not be a drag and drop template for every single type of business, but of course you get the concept, you can adapt it, and you can work it into your business. So that is the way that I would suggest you go about it, and there are some serious savings to be made. And once you do it successfully for the first time, the first time's always going to be the longest, but I would encourage you to adopt this process into your business once a year, maybe even twice a year. It is so effective. So you can make a note here of who's actually owning that expense, action, any notes taken, and what's the outcome. Has there been an outcome? Has there been a saving? Now, when you're, let's say, on the phone to your insurer, it could be a really simple question. Well, look, basically what I'm wanting to do is get a better deal. We've been with you for X amount of months, X amount of years. I've had a bit of a look around and there's some really good value options out there. And I feel like we're paying over odds for our insurance or for whatever it is that you approach them with. I would like a better deal. What can you do for me? Always put it back on them. What can you do for me? So you can do that with your business bankers, with your insurers. You can do that with your utilities. You can do that with your legal expenses if you do have any. Where are you shopping for your office expenses? Where are you getting your stationery? Are you actually getting it bulk at a really, really great provider? Or are you getting it ad hoc at the place across the road that's 3 times more expensive than anywhere else? So take a look at every single expense, and there are some serious savings to be made, and that is going to rapidly improve the value of your business. So you'll find that particular resource over in the resource section.